I remember the worst night of my life up to age 12. It was the night that Mom and Dad thought they could go to the store and leave me in charge of my siblings. They were only going to be gone a little while. My sister would have been about 6, my youngest brother 7, my next youngest brother 9. I don't really remember how most of it went, but eventually my brothers got out of control. At least that's my recollection. And I tried to sit them on the couch to cool down, but they would have none of it. At some point, I think we were all wrestling on the floor. My sister was upset, and I ended up holding down both my brothers on the floor while I knelt between them. I held them there until I heard Dad unlocking the door. I don't know how long that was. I don't ever remember volunteering to babysit ever after that. On the other hand, I remember those nights after Becky and I had children when we needed babysitters. Oftentimes there were some teenage girls in the church, but once in a while we came up dry, and it was like coming down to the wire, plus plans that we had made. Did you ever have that experience of wanting, just a few hours of freedom, parents, while you were up to your eyeballs in peanut butter and poopy diapers and the clock was ticking, but you dialed every teenage kid in the address book and received more no's than a telemarketer on its worst day, and you began to wonder, where have all the babysitters gone? Well, it used to be a rite of passage for teenage girls, at least, to spend at least a few years picking up some extra money sitting for the neighbor's kids. Frazzled parents looking for a night out simply had to go next door or make a phone call in order to gain an evening of freedom at the movies or a nice dinner, anything but mac and cheese, all for just a couple bucks an hour. As I talk to some young families nowadays, finding a good sitter is the equivalent of hitting the lottery. You can't call grandparents all the time, can you? Romantic evenings on the town sometimes become Lugu Gai Pan at home from a box and maybe a video from Netflix. Babysitting no longer holds prestige for the shrinking pool of available teens. Census Bureau statistics show that while the number of teens aged 12 to 17 held steady between 1980 and 2000, about 23 million, the number of children in younger age groups over that same period of time grew by 3 million. It's simple supply and demand, I guess. Add to that the lure of steadier, higher paying jobs for high schoolers these days, and their busy social lives, and their extracurricular activities, and you've got an even smaller pool from parents to draw from as they look for someone to be with their youngsters, even for a brief time. And it's not that parents aren't paying well, certainly more than the minimum wage these days, but they're still having trouble attracting sitters who'd rather take a higher status real job, like working at Klein's or McDonald's or Burger King. Babysitting is no longer a viable long-term employment option for teens. But while babysitting may be out of vogue as a profession, it's still no less necessary. Caring and nurturing for young children is a need that never goes out of style. And parents need the support of all kinds of people today in raising healthy, responsible children. Teachers, neighbors, doctors, extended family, church family. They weren't sure they believed that when the Sunday school movement first began, a little over 100 years ago, when they said things like, it will take over the responsibilities of parents. And at times I've heard Christian education workers complain about how some parents have used Sunday school as a babysitting service. Drop off the kids, go out to breakfast, come back and pick them up later. But today it seems like we need all the help we can get. As has been said many times, it takes a village to raise a child. However, as a parent, I do want the village people to be folks that I trust. Perhaps we need to elevate babysitting as a noble vocation, acknowledging that there's a lot more at stake than just sitting with the little ones. In the grand scheme of raising children, the service that sitters have provided, giving parents a break, providing teen role modeling, providing safety, security, is absolutely vital. My guess is that the Apostle Paul didn't see babysitting as a mere entry-level job, particularly when it came to nurturing the young Thessalonian church. The letter from which Margaret has read for us. In chapter 2, Paul uses the image of a nurse tenderly caring for her own children to describe his relationship with the believers there. A relationship marked, he says, by abounding love and thanksgiving for their commitment to stand firm in the Lord, certainly with his help. Paul and his companions had invested time and energy in urging and encouraging the church like a father with his children, it says. And the result was a church growing in maturity. Paul recognized the need to approach the Thessalonians with a gentle spirit. And he and his team shared not only the gospel of God, but also their own selves with these young Christians. Paul's ministry was not about resume building or lucrative results. It was about nurturing and seeing